Hey everybody, today we're going to make one of my favorite maple snacks, maple peanuts. You're going to start with 4 cups of peanuts. They can be salted or unsalted, though I prefer the salted myself as I like the sweet and salty flavor. You're going to put them in a large mixing bowl, and you want a large bowl because you're going to see later as we mix them you need the space to do it. Next, get yourself a deep pot. You're going to put a cup of maple syrup in there, but before that you're going to take some butter and you're going to make a rim of butter around the top. This will prevent any overflow if it bubbles up too much. About a 1 inch should do it. You want to use 1 cup of pure maple syrup. Add that to the pot, and we're going to put it on the heat and start bringing that up. Our finished temperature we're looking for is going to be between 248 degrees and 250 degrees Fahrenheit. So as we start to heat this up, you're going to see the bubbles start to appear just as we get around the boiling point. And it's going to get foamier as it goes along. You can start this on a high heat, but as you get closer to the temperature you want to bring the heat back a little bit to prevent a boil over, because the boil over of maple syrup on your stove is very messy. As we come up and approach the temperature, we're going to slowly heat back a little bit more, and we're going to bring it up somewhere between 248 and 250 degrees Fahrenheit. That's 120 to 121 degrees Celsius. It could take quite a while to reach the temperature you want, but don't walk away from the stove. It'll happen quickly. Once you reach the 250, pour that into your bowl of peanuts. Make sure you scrape out all the maple syrup. You don't want any of that to go to waste. Now the next step is going to take some time to stir in. Stir the peanuts, and it's going to start out easy at first, but as you go along it's going to get more difficult and sticky. That's normal. Just keep stirring. It could take 5 minutes of this. As the peanuts cool down, they will start to separate and get individually crusted in a thin layer of candy-like maple syrup. So you're going to stir that until all the nuts are loose and easily separating from each other, and they all have a nice little frosting on them. It might take 5 minutes, could take slightly longer. You can see here that they're starting to get nice and loosened up. Make sure you scrape the edges of the bowl as well so they won't stay clumped together. Then you're going to have a piece of parchment paper prepared so that when I take them out of the bowl, I'm going to dump them onto the parchment paper. This will allow them just to cool a little bit more. So they're almost done. You can see how the individual nuts are all nice and separate here. Each one is individually frosted. So take the nuts, dump them onto a sheet of parchment paper, and then just let them cool for a while. You can just stir them around a little bit more just to make sure there's none that are going to stick together. Once it cooled a little bit, grab a bowl and enjoy yourself a snack. They're tasty as they are, nice and warm. But if you want to store them, I like to store them either in a sealed jar, or I will vacuum pack them in individual snack sizes, and I'll even throw them in the freezer, and they'll keep for months that way. Enjoy it, and thanks for watching. And don't forget to check out my other videos on Uncle Howie's Homestead for wildlife and recipes. Thanks.